Dominican Republic. We're right next to Puerto Rico. If you go through the Canal de la Mona, the channel, Mona Channel. And so we're very near. We actually take a ferry over here. And we're here in a day. And this is Puerto Rico. And this is where that green spot that you see over there is the Northeastern Ecological Corridor. If you were yesterday in the biology presentation, then probably this is familiar. And the darker green over there, the big spot, is the Yunque National Rainforest, which is a rainforest that we have in Puerto Rico that is very important. It's the only registered rainforest within the jurisdiction of the U.S. We're a colony of the U.S., so this is where the U.S. then has a rainforest within Puerto Rico. This is the northeastern coast of Puerto Rico. The red is the very urbanized areas, and then the greener part are different reserves. The green over here is the Northeastern Ecological Corridor, it's the farthest corner, and it's the only only site that hasn't been developed. Because even though this one is green as well as Piñones, it does have some houses, although you can't see them in the map. And then the Northeastern Ecological Corridor Reserve is this piece of land. As you see, Luquillo, which is the very urban center in this corner, and then Fajardo. So it's, for some reason, it hasn't been developed during many years. And the people coming in also part of the... Are you coming for the presentation? Okay. Sit as close as you can. Don't get so far away. Come over here. You guys as well. Come closer. I'm waiting for them to sit down. I see you under the basket. Come. Okay. Everyone's here for the Northeastern Ecological Corridor? Yes? Yes? Okay, so this is the Northeastern Ecological Corridor. It's really bad. This is the Northeastern Ecological Corridor. It's a piece of land that for some reason hasn't been developed in Puerto Rico for many years, and it connects Las Cabezas de San Juan, which is a nature reserve in Fajardo, in the northeast, with El Yunque, which are the mountains that you can see in the farthest mountains, and then with Luquillo, which is a very urban area. The Northeastern Ecological Corridor has really interesting ecosystems. It has a tree-column white forest, one of the best examples in Puerto Rico, which, the same as the rest of the Caribbean, for those of you that are from the Dominican Republic or different areas in the Caribbean, during the time where we used to produce a lot of sugarcane for a long time, and most of our forests were deforested. So in Puerto Rico during the 80s and 90s, we started planting a lot again and got to do a lot of forestation in the island. It went up 90%. But in that corridor, there's still a piece of land that is from the forest that used to exist before the sugarcane. There's a bioluminescent lagoon in the Laguna Agua Prieta. It's a temporal lagoon, so it flows from time to time. We have bioluminescence in Puerto Rico. We have 4 lagoons. So there are dinoflagellates, which are these magnificent creatures that glow in the dark. You can even see fishes around you and everything when it's at night. We have all the types of wetlands in Puerto Rico represented. So we have Pterocarpus, which is the big trees over there. We call them palo de pollo, which is the like as if it was a chicken's feet. We have cienagas, wetlands, and we have galaxia, which is the seagrass or turtle grass, because turtles love them a lot. We have the biggest mangroves in the northeast region, and we have a connection with the Yucca rainforest. All these types of plants and animals, like the Puerto Rican boa, the woodpeckers, the flamingo, the manatee, which I think there are a lot of, or some manatees as well here because they're an endangered species. And we have the largest marine turtle in the world, the leatherback turtle, which is actually starting to nest right now. They started to nest in February, and they haven't started nesting yet in the Dominican Republic, but I think they're coming soon. And this presentation is in Spanish, so some of the beaches of the corridor have the highest numbers in the leatherback population that comes in and has their babies in our beaches. Well, the beach that receives the most of the leatherbacks is in the northeastern ecological corridor. The leatherback is very special. In English, it's called leatherback because of its back, literally. It feels like leather, so when you touch it, it's sort of, it has a different shell from other turtles, so its family is different. It has its own family. These green turtles are Chelonidae, so some of these are also here, like Arizona, which is the one with the big head. We have also Carey, which I think is also here, among others. La Peje Blanco, which is another type of turtle. And it's as old as dinosaurs, so the leatherback is very, very old. And it can grow as big as a Volkswagen, maybe not as tall, but it does grow up to 7 feet. So it's a really big turtle. It has that leather back because it goes into really deep water to eat the jellyfish, which is its favorite. So it needs to be flexible. And its back is pretty flexible for that. And its neonates, which are the babies, are very, very small. So from 1,000 leatherbacks that are born, only one gets to get as big as the mother leatherback, which can grow up to 7 feet. So it's not a lot, right? From 1,000, one gets to get into its reproductive phase, which is an adult. And the adult leatherback is up to 2,000 libras, which are pounds. That was just to know you were paying attention. Of jellyfish daily. So can you imagine a sea without leatherbacks? How would it feel? Really, really harsh, right, to our skin. So the leatherback is really important in maintaining, right, the populations in the sea. So there's a population in the Pacific and the Atlantic, and we obviously have the populations that live in the Atlantic. This is a little bit about the reduction. In the Pacific, the populations have reduced for 80%. So there's a lot less leatherbacks than there were some years ago, in 1996. But they love the beaches in the Caribbean, and they love the beaches in the corridor because since they're so big, they love the same beaches that surfers love. Has anyone surfed here or surfs? Okay. So what waves do you look for when you surf? Big waves, right? So we're looking for energetic waves, high intensity waves. They're the same waves that the leatherback looks for. So the leatherback pushes itself, since it's so big, with the wave and goes out to the water, and it actually does like a form effect, like a really hard effect into the sand. So females search for high energy beaches, but males never actually come out. So after the leatherback is born, the leatherback that are male will live in the sea for all their lives, but the female leatherback will come out. And this is Puerto Rico, the ecological corridor when it's in its nesting season. So you can see that most of the leatherbacks are kind of around there, right? In the ecological corridor. So again, males stay all their life in sea, the females come up to nest. So they make a big hole in the sand, they leave up to 100 eggs in the nest. But from those 100 eggs, at least like 60 actually come out. Most of the eggs that a lot of the eggs that they leave, about 20 or 40 eggs, are what they call huevos falsos, or false eggs. So they're eggs for predators when they come and take the sand out and everything to not kill the turtles that are in the eggs. And this is what you shouldn't do. So it's always good to know about the leatherbacks and maybe miss it, but you should never do this with so many people around. The leatherback after returns to seed and feed and rest. So the female leatherback actually comes mostly at night or during the very, very early in the morning. So they come mostly at night because they don't, they prefer to not have the sunlight. It's very blinding. And when they nest, they have kind of a trance. So they go into this, they cry a lot, mostly because of the sand in their eyes, and they make really loud noises. So other animals sometimes come in and scare the leatherback. And there's also a lot of poaching. 52 days later, the babies are born. So we finish our season. It starts now in February, and we finish our season around June, July, but there's still leatherbacks being born until September. And they also return to sea. The seagulls and the crabs don't get them first because they do struggle a lot in their way to sea. And if you do see the leatherbacks, you should never pick them up. You always think that we're helping them. But leatherbacks need that time between when they get out from the nest to when they reach the sea to be able to work with their lungs, to develop their lungs. And you can maybe, if there's a twig in the middle, different things that might harm the way out, you can remove that, but you should never carry it to the sea. You're actually doing the leatherback a little bit of damage instead of helping them. And why is an animal that has been for so long, since the time of the dinosaurs existing, why is it now in extinction? So plastic bags look similar to jellyfish, and what did leatherbacks eat? So they get killed from the plastic bags. Turtles get caught in nets. This doesn't happen so much in the Caribbean, but in the Pacific, where there are very big fisheries with nets, they tend to get caught in nets. Stray animals eat turtle eggs. They are eating turtle eggs, but just as an example of different stray animals, they sometimes right in the beach, the different animals come in and eggs. But the one that worries us the most is that in the Caribbean, beaches are disappearing. So in the Northeastern Ecological Corridor, developers wanted, because we are going to talk a little bit about the corridor, to build 2 mega hotels and 3 golf courses where we live. And obviously, lights confuse the leatherbacks. It's a big issue. And when the leatherbacks are born, they look for and also when the females come in and nest, they nest in beaches that are very different from the beaches that other turtles look for, like for example, like Carey, etc., which are beaches that have a lot of vegetation. Leatherbacks look for beaches that are very big and broad and where they can do their pool and that are very dark. So they're looking for beaches that don't have so much light pollution. And this helps them orient themselves because they're a little bit blind, so they orient themselves by the light from the moon. And in the Northeastern Ecological, these were the 2 mega hotels that wanted to be developed, the San Miguel Four Seasons and the Atlantic Resort. And half of the lands are public, so they're lands that belong to us, they're not private lands, they're lands that are from the government. And most of the projects don't comply with the zoning. And they violate Ejunque. So Ejunque is the area, the rainforest that we talked about a little earlier. So a lot of the different developments were very near Ejunque. And then there are the places where the hotels would be built are areas that flood quite a bit. So the corridor is more prone to flooding if the hotels were to build there. Also, we don't know if the hotels wanted sort of more of a native sort of look where you would go in boats, etc., to stay in the hotel, but it wouldn't really be a hotel that would lead to the sand. It would probably eventually erode. This is in the tropical storm GIN, which is a hurricane that came to Puerto Rico. And the structures that you see there, all of the little cubes, it would be where the hotels would be. So they would be totally flooded. This is the storm, that's the corridor, that's Luis Jorge, our friend, taking DP, the points. And there's also a lack of drinking water, and there's these regions. Sometimes we are a week without water, 2 weeks without water, and if hotels came into the zone, then that would mean less water for everyone to drink, because the hotels would make a regular deficit of water in that area. There's also a lack of public access to the beaches, and this is, for example, in Humacao, a region right next to where the corridor is, and where people put in signs saying that you should not go to the beach because it's private, although all beaches are supposed to be public. And there are a lot of hotels closing in Puerto Rico. And this is a list of all of the hotels that closed or never opened or changed to residents. But there aren't residents that are residents where people can really afford. So they're luxury houses. And there are already 15 golf courses in the east. So 3 more golf courses wouldn't really do a lot because and it's not a sport that really people play in Puerto Rico. And then 2/3 of the projects would be residential, the projects that were proposed. So the corridor connects again El Yunque, La Cabeza de San Juan, and that's the corridor. That's a picture from 1898, and a picture from today. And 1 million people visited Yunque every year, but tend to not stay in the east. And a little bit of the proposal is to connect all of these ecosystems and make the area a conservation, recreation, and restoration area, where we can develop small businesses and ecotourism. And as you can see, all of the turtles that go into the corridor, the leatherbacks, and those are their favorite beaches, with gateway communities. So basically, portales, so portals to the corridor. Luquillo, Fajardo, and Juan Martín, which is in Luquillo, would be the communities that are in charge of people going into the resort. So we got organized with the leatherback as our main motive. That is why we call this presentation How the Turtles Save the Corridor, because everyone would resonate with the leatherback. And we started a coalition called La Coalición Pro Corredor Ecológico del Noreste, where we organize different activities with the leatherback as our main person, or main animal. This is not a leatherback, but we used this turtle a lot in the campaign, and we did different efforts. We first went to the legislature in Puerto Rico and developed a law, and with 3 of the political parties. So these are the political parties in Puerto Rico. The original ones, now there are more, but originally there were only these 3. This was in 2007. So we developed this new law, the 2105, and it passed. We won in the House of Representatives. Yay! Where? We came to the Senate, and we won. But 3 of the senators ruined the law with some amendments that they made to it. So who were they? No, that doesn't matter very much. But what is a comment and 2 are under investigation of the FBI, just so you know. And then we went to the governor, and we had these turtle petitions that we took all over the country, and we had thousands and thousands of turtles that we gave to the governor, and he signed an executive order. And the governor, which was actually thanks to his wife. His wife was very lovable for him. So she was the one who actually made him sign it. And then the planning board designates the area as a reserve. We made a comprehensive plan, and there you see the leatherback again, and a management plan, and we had public hearings on the plan, but then it doesn't finish here. On October is the one that signed the executive order, they removed the designation of nature reserve. So, yeah. Huh? We removed it. Boo! We should move again. Boo! That was a really hard time, actually. And then in October 2009, again, the reserve was eliminated. We did a bunch of things related to that elimination. A lot of things. And they eliminated also different sites within the corridor because they decided to make a bigger reserve. But it was a reserve that eliminated different areas where they wanted to build tourist areas. So we continued doing different activities, and we did a lot of work promoting science in the corridor, where we would generate information that was necessary for us to be more eloquent in how we were presenting the reserve. Not only say that we wanted it protected, but why. We developed different data, and we developed different encounters with nature. We did a lot of lobbying, where we actually had a lot of youth groups that came in and lobbied. I was, for example, 15 when I started working with the corridor and lobbying a lot, and got a lot of the students from my school to lobby, and all our different schools to lobby. And we have different activities like bird counts, and we built a guide with the fishermen to know more from the knowledge, from the local knowledge that fishermen had for the corridor, and did different workshops and webinars, lichen identification workshops. These are lichens. We did bioblitz, which are rapid assessment of different organisms, where you count everything that's around that you see, with bats, and with Acropora palmata, for example, which is an endangered coral, and the fungi expert over there, Paul, within different areas of the corridor. These are the bird counts, where we actually saw piping plover, which is a really important species. It links the communities, the fishermen communities, to the corridor, and all of this was a way to get the public to live the corridor through the sciences, but also through projects that are concrete and that are long. We promoted education and our scientific culture, created a lot more consciousness about the corridor, provided spaces and opportunities for local guides and for the local communities to develop their own projects. And with that, we did a lot of turtle monitoring of the leatherback, and different art projects, guides for students, and all other things. And then, in 2012, the law number 126 was approved unanimously in the Cámara del Senado to protect all of the areas that were public in the corridor. So still we're not finished with the corridor. We got all of the public areas protected. What now? We will. And then we've been doing the Turtle Festival, or actually the Tinglao Festival, which is the leatherback festival, for 8 years. And it's a big festival where we have a parade with all of the schools from the district and from different areas, with the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, everyone that wants to join the parade, with different themes. And this last year, April 2013, the new governor finally signed the law. Yay! Now you can. To protect the area as a nature reserve. And we signed it in the Leatherback Festival. So the Leatherback has been crucial in the work that we've been doing in the corridor. And with that, any questions? stations, and one was the corridor. And actually, when I was a kid, I would go to this beach, and I would tell my mother to leave me in one of the in Luquillo, which is the farthest, in the eastern farthest community, which is where we actually were for a long time living. I would stay in Luquillo. Let me see if I can point it out. It was the more urbanized there. Luquillo is that area. That's where we lived for a really long time. And I would tell her to come pick me up in Fajardo, which is over here. So I would walk all of this when I was a kid, and she would call me. I mean, we didn't have a phone, like a cell phone or anything, but she would make hysterical during the evening looking for me because I wouldn't arrive until really late to the other side. So when I learned that this area was going to be developed, it was very important for me to protect it. So I guess that was two of the main reasons that I got very involved with environmental work.
Any other questions?
Wait, I wasn't here when you said it, like in the very beginning, but when did you actually start your project?
When I was 13. With the corridor and the project with agriculture, they started at the same time. I learned about, it was actually at the same time my father died, so I had to do a lot with that. I started getting super involved in a lot of groups, I guess trying to find a way to make where we live a little bit more healthier for everyone. So I started Gaia per se, the organization, when I was 15, 16, and we submitted it as a nonprofit in Puerto Rico, which is sort of, it's not super easy, but it's not too hard either. In Puerto Rico, the laws are also kind of wild sometimes, but that sometimes also makes it harder because you have to keep track of everything, very, very specific. But yeah, sort of during that time.
I have a question. Are you thinking of expanding beyond the Caribbean with your project?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's hard sometimes it's like the same as a mega franchise or something like that. That sometimes a supermarket starts and they want to keep developing different supermarkets in different areas, but then they end up in bancarrota, so like they have to stop the project. Because I think that it's also very important to focus in what we love and what we're doing, and I'm very attached to the Caribbean. It's from where I'm from, and I'm very much of an islander, but I think that that's what all of you are here for. I guess that from wherever you are, you can expand if it's with our project or with any project that you want to develop. So maybe not our project specifically, but maybe you can have some ideas for what we're doing and develop something similar where you're from.
So I was wondering, have you seen an increased amount of the population of the leatherback turtles lately?
Yes. Actually, since we started the campaign, so we're always kidding about that the leatherbacks come in just because we were protecting the corridor. But since we started the campaign, maybe it was also because there's been a lot of more consciousness about poaching and different initiatives also, not only ours, but there's also a really amazing community-based group in Maunabo, which is south in Puerto Rico, that have been doing turtle monitoring and conservation for a very long time. And their group has almost the same age as our group, and in the last 15 years, the amount of leatherbacks coming to Puerto Rico has gone up a lot. I don't know exactly the number, but I can check, and it has gone up quite a bit. And they've been nesting a lot more and starting their nesting cycles a lot earlier, which actually has to do a lot also with climate change in terms of the early thing. But yeah, they have gone up.
your resilience and persistence when you get setbacks, like you won in the House and you won in the Senate, and then 3 senators knocked it out, and then it was signed by the governor, and then not the new governor. How do you keep up your energy and your hope and your enthusiasm?
I have to admit that sometimes you're like, oh my God, I can't continue. But also at the same time, I mean, there's first of all, I guess it also gets me a little bit mad, and from that being mad, I get even more anxious into wanting to protect it, because there's so many setbacks that you're like, okay, no, let's keep on doing it. And it's the same for everything. Also, in the agriculture projects, there's moments where you're thinking, oh, this is not going to last, and it's exactly that. That also, not only with being mad, but also when you see people going to the Turtle Festival that are so excited, and I work a lot with kids, and they're so excited from just getting costume builds for being a leatherback during the festival, or seeing a kid plant tomatoes, or working with the fishermen or the farmers who have improved even a lot more. I mean, when you think about fishing communities, for example, in Puerto Rico, and they go out every day and maybe once a week they catch something. Our farmers that keep on planting, and maybe it hasn't rained, for example, now in Haiti, and the farmer still is doing his work. So I think if everyone can, if they can endure that, I think we can endure a little bit more to try to protect these areas.
Are there any other species of turtles that come to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, there's 3 other, the peje blanco, the cabezona, I don't know the names in, the carey, and then we have the tinglar. There's 4 in total. And then we have river turtles, but I work more with the sea turtles. The river turtles are the Icotea, was the native species, but there's been other introduction of pet shop turtles that people, after they grow a little bit, they throw them into the rivers and everything, and then those have been kind of getting mixed with the Icotea, and now we don't have a lot of river turtles actually from the native turtle.
Any other questions? Question.